You know, this is Gerard, editor-in-chief of Filipino Soul, aka SGIB Magazine, the stand for Still Just Got Intentions. Dreams are nothing more than plans awaiting action. There was something else I wanted to break down to you about some of the handles I use. If you would have told me 100 years ago, or not 100 years, say 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, that I would be lying on the grass in Korea after having a fantastic lunch, a buffet. I would have told you were lying. Never happened. It just goes to show you how life is full of so many unexpectancies. There's a secret about eating buffets, you know. When I go to a buffet, I take one of everything. Just to taste. Just to taste. One of everything. That I like, of course. And then I sit down and enjoy my meal. Of course, salad, fruit, and everything. But, you know, I was thinking about that young kid in North Korea. College boy, went there on a prank, or went there and then decided to do a prank, or went there with an idea, accomplished one, of bringing back a souvenir from North Korea. North Korea. And he decided to go in the bathroom, I believe that's where it was, and remove a poster. Now, North Korea is a dictatorship. Everything that's on display in North Korea has a meaning, a patriotic meaning. Like they have a department store loaded with all kinds of merchandise, from washing machines to sneakers. But none of it's for sale, only for show. I found that fascinating. That none of the items inside that department store are for sale, just for show. Getting back to the young man, you know, he decided to, like us in America would think it's nothing. You know, you steal a poster, you steal a poster. But you stole it in a country that the significance of what you did carries a lot more of the consequences than just destroying public property or vandalism. He ended up being arrested, and in my wildest imagination, I could never imagine what was done to this young man. You took a young man that was very full of life, and to be brought back as a vegetable. Not able to walk, speak, or anything. You know? And as much, I mean, it was so bad that their parents immediately wanted to have him cremated. They didn't want to have an autopsy. They didn't want to know the extent of the torture that was perpetrated upon their son. Let's not even talk about it, the diplomat fallouts, if it ever got out what they did to this young man while he was in their custody. And I'm sorry. You know, I'm sorry. You know, I can't find it in me to really feel sorry for him. You know, because he should have known better. He should have known better. And a lot of times, a lot of things are that happens to us. My uncle taught me one thing. He says, whatever happens to me is my fault. He's talking to himself. And I carry that philosophy because whatever happens to me is my fault. You know, I know what it's like to have been in an environment where, like in prison, you have to, every move you make is determined by someone else for you to make it. Like drugs, you know, or moving too fast, that's what I call it. You know, I know what it's like to live a life every waking moment, 24/7 a day, 7 days a week, 30 days out of the month, 365 days out of the year, to be governed by an addiction. I know what that's like too. You know, one thing I'm very blessed that, you know, although I had my early experiences of drugs, that I never really did them until I was in my 30s. During that time, I was able to put together a plan for my life. You know, I was around influences of my life. Like, for instance, I had wanted to go into the military because I wanted to be a police officer. My martial art instructor, we taught the police precinct martial art techniques. We also did an exhibit at Carnegie Hall. Yeah, I've been to Carnegie Hall. You know, so I took grand champion in Madison Square Garden in the brown belt division. And a lot of you who know Ron Van Cleef. Ron Van Cleef, there's two Van Cleefs. Ron Van Cleef, I think it's Ron Van Cleef. Not Lee Van Cleef. Ron Van Cleef, the black martial art artist who starred in The Black Dragon many years ago, wanted me to go to Spain with him to compete. You know, because I was that good. I got disqualified from Jim Kelly, who you've seen him, when a tournament in Connecticut put on by Chuck Norris for using facial contact. At that time, they didn't have facial contact. You went point like that. You know, before it got to the point, take his fucking head off. You know, like that. You know, but and I was working at a job in the office buildings, and I worked called a maggot wagon, similar to like the lunch trucks that they have that pull up inside of a building and they come downstairs and eat. Well, I worked in an office building where they had the cart that went on floors, and they served food, and you bought from the cart the employees. And one day, it was this woman sitting in this dark room, and she was sitting back in a chair, and I peeked in, and all I heard was, and I asked her, I said, what is that? And she said, it was a teletype. I said, wow. I was fascinated by a teletype. So, of course, when I got into the service, I was told not to become an MP because the jurisdiction was different. It would just screw your head up. To wait your 3 years before you come 21 and have a gun permit. So they asked me what I wanted to do. So I said, I want to work the teletype. I want to go into communications. And I went to communications. I was a radio operator, Morse code, teletype, and radio. You know, all that stuff. And it's one of those life experiences, that, but today, the young, for the past 30 years or so, or maybe longer, since the late 70s, early 80s and 90s, when the drug epidemic hit, from that point on, those children never had a chance. They never had a chance. Because it turned out that their mother was on drugs, their grandparents were on drugs, their uncles were on drugs, were selling drugs. And it destroyed, that's why I say it destroyed generations, 2 or 3 generations. Yes, it has. Because young men today don't have idols to look up to, or don't have the exposures of careers in their households anymore to motivate them to pursue something in their life. And it's unfortunate. It's sad. It's sad and unfortunate. It's sad and unfortunate. But it's still up to them as an individual to make the right decisions. It's out there. But anyway, I'm just enjoying this day. I thought, well, who would I have liked to spend this day sitting here? I miss sitting on the grass. In the Philippines, that's one thing you don't see. You don't see grass. You don't see a lot of grass at all, or parks that have grass where you can sit on the grass and just relax. And, I miss that. Just like when I was in Las Vegas, I missed the water. In Las Vegas, there's no water, I kept wanting to go to the beach, and finally it said, Gerard, you're in the desert. There is no beach in Las Vegas. Only Lake Mead. I knew about Lake Mead because every now and then you read in the paper someone was found floating in that thing, or something capsized and somebody was killed. So but I long for wanting to be around the beach and everything. To be by the water. That's when I go back. I'm going to try to live by an island. I want to find an island when I want to live around. Another reason why I came to the Philippines is because not only do I want to live like a king, but I want to be a millionaire. I could not be a millionaire in the United States. I know this for a fact. Too many years have gone by for me to try to become a millionaire in the United States. But I can be a millionaire here in the Philippines, that's for sure. And so I think I still may get that chance to be a millionaire. But it won't be in the United States. But anyway, my batteries are going dead. I'm not even interested in charging them or anything like that. I got till 6 o'clock before the plane leaves, or 9 or somewhere. I'm here till 6, so which is good. Make sure my ass gets on the plane. But it's nice. It's nice. Let me see. If I was to ask you what I miss most in the United States, because you got to understand something. Right now, I've got nothing in my pockets. Nothing. I'm traveling from the Philippines, to Korea, overnight stay in a 5-star hotel. Then I go to Vegas. I go to Vegas and stay 7 days in a 5-star resort. And then from there, I fly to New York. And it's a good thing I have my food card from Las Vegas because, for when you're homeless, you have your card and you can eat meals. So I know if push comes to shove, I won't starve. But I know one thing that it will have, and that's a pool. So I'm looking forward to doing that. But it's just amazing. If you had told me that I would be here like this, I would say you're out of your mind. You're out of your mind. The weather here is a little chilly. It's a little chilly here. It's not very hot. I say it has to probably be in low 70s or somewhere. low 70s and somewhere around that. And, it's okay. I thought maybe I might walk around to the park where the water's coming up and all that stuff, but for what? This is a lot more enjoyable sitting here, watching cars go by. It's funny because, now I'm in Korea. I remember on Saturday Night Live, they had this woman who played the Korean woman, and she would say certain things, no, so, like this, whatever, and they do that. So I was laughing. And, the Koreans, it's, it's a very harsh language. It's very harsh. They get very loud. And I don't know what it is, but they talk to people, like damn. I don't want to say too much in case you want to come to Korea one day. I don't want to ruin your surprise. But that's enough being said about the woman who played the Korean on Saturday Night Live. A lot of those idiosyncrasies that she did are true. And then it's so it just goes to show you. But when you ask them, when you ask people for information, here they ask you to repeat it. And although they answer, I understand that the first time they hear it, it's them. The second time is breaking it down into their understanding and in their brain, so this way they can answer you. In other words, they don't think English. See? So, I guess most other cultures only think in their native tongue. So them saying, look at me like, what? You're like this? I don't... This is something good to remember too. If you're talking to someone and someone says, what did you say? And then you say it again and you say it, the thing you said, the same way they say, what did you say? Then you're an idiot for not rephrasing it so they can understand it differently, or maybe have a better way of hearing it. Because it could be a number of factors why they can't understand it, but keep repeating the answer the same way is only frustrating to both parties. So I make it a point when they ask me twice to change how I say it, so this way hopefully you get a better understanding of it. I know in the States, I speak very loud. I speak very loud, clear, whatever. And when I walk into a store and I tell somebody what I want, even a pack of cigarettes, they say, what? I get hot. It's like, you heard what I said. Why are you asking me what? You know what? I said the same thing. Oh, okay. You heard me. It gets very irritating at times. I guess that comes from my daughter, because my daughter, and Diamond does the same thing. If I call her, I always call her Janelle when she does it. Janelle had this horrible habit. When I call her Janelle, she won't respond. I say, Janelle, I say a little louder. And then I say, Janelle. And she says, what? I hear you. Well, if you hear me, little girl, why don't you answer? And by that time, I am so away from what it was I wanted to say, because now we're focusing on this, how aggravating it is for her not to answer. Anyway, that's that. I'm going upstairs and chill. I just want to stop and put this down. I don't want to go live with it. But this is Rod. Oh, I said, what else? There was something I wanted to break down something for you. Dreams are more than sometimes. Yeah. Okay. I know I say sometimes. you'll be the only one to see your vision. And that is so damn true. That's so true of a lot of people who've been successful in their lives. You know, a lot of people told them they were crazy. One interview I missed that I lost that was damaged or stolen in Las Vegas was one of the members of Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes. You know, I interviewed him. And when he performed, you could tell he loved performing. You know, first of all, I said, Mr. Melvin, he said, wait a minute. The lead singer says, he says, Melvin's been dead a long time. I'm not Melvin. I said, oh, shit. I said, oh, I need to do my homework a little bit better. But I interviewed him. But then I interviewed the one who travels with him. Because not all Blue Notes travel with him. And when I talked to him, he was talking about how, you know, he always had his dream of becoming a singer. And even when he was in his 30s and going to his 40s, they told him to give it up, give it up, give it up. It's never going to happen, never going to happen. And lo and behold, it did. He got a call to perform with in Harold Melvin's Blue Notes. And man, he's been on cloud 9 ever since. I say that to say this. You may be the only one to see your vision. You know, the only one who believes in you. You know, but the most important thing is for you to believe in you and never give up. You know, because if you're true to yourself, it'll happen. You know, I know I was watching this guy or listening to this guy talking, and he was talking about girls. He was talking about your daughters. He says, your daughter may be the most precious thing in your life. And she may be doing her best to do the right thing. She probably is going to the best college. And then some guy comes into her life, you know, in a relationship and blows her mind. Blows her totally way out in left field. You know? And so he says, that's why girls of today, or women of today, you know, he don't put much stock in them, especially young ones, because he knows what's going to happen. Somebody's going to come along and blow their mind, and then they're going to be off to the races somewhere. It was funny how he put it. But anyway, I'm signing up right now. I'm going to go lay down for a little bit. So I hope you've seen Korea, because you've seen just about as much of it as I have, you know. So, but the most important thing I've seen in Korea is sitting here on this little patch of grass underneath this tree, smoking a cigarette and enjoying it with you. I want to thank you for being here. Because if it wasn't for you, who else would I talk to? I'll always love you, man. And if you're lucky enough to have a woman like I do, treat her like a lady. I love you, Diamond. I'll talk to you later. Peace.